Welcome to LC Screen Talk. My name is Larry, and today I have a special video in which me and a special guest will be sharing our Game of Thrones Season 8 wish lists. So I'm a pretty big Game of Thrones fan. If you watched my favorite live action TV shows of all time, you'll remember it actually rang in at number 1. So, in order to celebrate the final season premiering on April 14th, I decided to invite one of my friends, fellow YouTubers, and fellow Game of Thrones enthusiasts, Chad Sabourin, onto the channel so we can both discuss our 5 greatest wishes for the final season of the show. The wish list means 5 things we want to see happen. These aren't predictions, these aren't what we think is going to be taking place, or any of the like. It's just what we're looking forward to seeing this coming season. Whether it'll actually happen or not, do we ever really know? No, but if it were up to us, these were the 5 things that would take place this year. Before we get into our actual list, I have some honorable mentions because there's a lot that I actually want to see go down in season 8. My first honorable mention would be to have Brienne get actually knighted, like officially, fully knighted. And it would just be such a beautiful resolution to her story arc and kind of bring her character full circle. And it would just be a really cool thing for one of my favorite characters and something she's been striving towards and deserves the entire series. So I would love to see that for her in this final season. Another honorable mention would be to have Nymeria make one final appearance. I really think this is 50-50 on whether it might happen or not. There is a great chance that that final little peek we got in season 7 was putting Nymeria's story to rest and giving us peace that she's okay. Or it could have been, hey, remember Nymeria? She's still out here, she's big, and she leads a pack of wolves. They may play an unexpected role as the White Walkers and Whites come through the north and her territory. So it would be really cool, actually, to see Nymeria lead her pack of wolves in and maybe save Arya on the battlefield. And my final honorable mention, what I would really like to see in season 8, that Jon Snow booty one more time. Not gonna lie, one of the highlights of season 7 was Kit Harington, and as the internet proved, that symmetrically perfect booty in the season finale. And who wouldn't be down to just get another glimpse at it one more time in season 8? But now, on to the actual list. So I'm going to let Chad kick us off with his number 5, and then we'll alternate back and forth on our picks. So go ahead and take it away.
Hey everyone, firstly, just wanted to give a shout out. Thank you very much, Larry of LC Screen Talk, for letting me be on his show. I really do appreciate it. We're doing Game of Thrones wish list, 5-1, with obviously number 1 being the best and most wishful thing that I personally would want to happen on the 8th season of Game of Thrones, which is coming out on the 14th. So, firstly, let's get to number 5 for me personally. Number 5 for me is The Mountain vs. the Hound, also known as, I believe in the books, Clegane Bowl. So Clegane Bowl is obviously where the Mountain and the Hound, who are brothers, they face off against each other. It hasn't happened in the show. Why do I think it will happen? Because of that one line at the very end of the season 7 finale, where the Hound specifically says, "I'm coming for you, and there's nothing you can do," or something along those lines. So, with the amount of details that the creators of the show have created, I doubt that they're going to have a line like that and not follow through. So, for me personally, I'm wishing that we can see that because, after the Viper, also known as Oberyn, getting crushed, I would kind of love to see the Hounds take revenge. Obviously not for him, but it would be sweet revenge for us fans. So that's personally my number 5.
For my number 5 pick, I have Brienne and Tormund actually getting together. I've been shipping them since the moment I saw Tormund giving Brienne the eyes. I love them as a couple. I ship them hard. I want to see Brienne come to a guy who really appreciates her for her and legitimately just kind of like finds her beautiful and wonderful as she is, And I think it would be a really lovely moment. So I'm hoping for a lot of Brienne in this final season, apparently, which I'm always hoping for a lot of her. But we'll see if it actually takes place. I'm not sure if they'll give Tormund his eyes desire, or if we'll just be left with him longing for his tall blonde beauty.
As for my number 4 pick, my number 4 pick is one that most people probably won't actually be like, oh, yeah, me too. And that's seeing the Golden Company and how they're utilized. See, the Golden Company, from what I've read, I haven't read the books, I'm just throwing it out there, but from what I've read, the Golden Company are paid for hire. They specifically are against Targaryens. And so if they know that there's a Targaryen, aka Daenerys, that is seeking the throne, they will, without a doubt, try and kill her. And they are being hired by Cersei Lannister. So to see that, I think it's going to be very interesting because I feel as though they're supposed to be the best of the best in terms of fighting. So it's going to be interesting to see if they do face off against the Dothraki, especially after the Battle of Winterfell, which will be occurring in episode 3. So I'm very curious to see what they're going to be doing with the Golden Company, because let's face it, they're going to be a force to reckon with. I know we only saw a little image in the trailer, but it's enough to get me really hyped up for them.
My number 4 pick is a pick that Chad also has, and that is the Clegane Bowl. We've been leading up to this moment literally since the first season. Hound, Mountain, head to head. And this would be a wonderful moment for the Hound to come full circle. We've seen his character grow a lot throughout the years. Maybe some of the biggest character growth of anyone on the entire series. But this is it. This is like the final piece to the Hound's story. I think once we get this, if he kills the Mountain for a second death, then I think the Hound also can die, or he can go on, he can do whatever, because I think that kind of wraps up his story and gives us a good conclusion to the Hound's arc. If he were to die before then, I think it would be such a shame, but I don't think it's going to happen. We got a little preview, sneak peek of it, if you will, coming in that trailer in the end of season 7. We got a little bit more of that, so I think it's going to happen, and I think we all want it to happen.
So, my number 3 it's definitely a popular one out there, but, I'm rewatching Game of Thrones right now in preparation for, obviously the final season. But I can't help it but think, I'm very excited for Jon Snow and Arya being reunited. It's something that, let's face it, from the first episode, I believe, no, episode 2, the last time when they saw each other, they've been apart, but you could tell that they were really close in season 1. So to see them get reunited in season 8, it's going to be very emotional. And yes, it might be fan service, but at the same time, I feel as though it's earned, considering that all the things that these characters have gone through to reach this final season. I think it's well worth it. And especially because Arya and Sansa get reunited was interesting, I think it's going to be even more interesting to see Jon Snow and, of course, Arya get reunited. That's why it's my number 3.
My number 3 pick is Jon and Arya reuniting. This is like the last big Stark reuniting we need. Arya has got back together with Bran, with Sansa, Sansa and Bran, Sansa and Jon quickly seeing Rickon. Not the reunion we wanted. But then, of course, Sansa and Jon. This is it. This is the one I think all of us in our hearts have wanted to see for the longest. Both of them were the closest to each other in the entire family. It's been so long, and I can't wait to see them get back together. Especially because Arya has come so close with so much of her family, and it'll be nice to get maybe one of the most impactful reunions of the show.
So, my number 2 is also involving Jon Snow, but this time it's kind of different. So, my number 2 is seeing Jon Snow's reaction when he finds out that he's a Targaryen. Because we as an audience, we know that, based on the season 6 finale and then, reconfirmed in season 7 finale, we know he's a Targaryen. And Bran knows that too, and Sam knows that too. But I'm very curious to see how Jon's going to take it. I'm really curious because, he's kind of like, his father, Ned Stark. Well, not his actual father, now confirmed, but his father that he was raised by, didn't want, any control. Like, he was fine with being the warden in the North. And I feel as though Jon Snow is the same way. So it's going to be interesting to see how they go about that, with how that's going to change their dynamic, Jon Snow and Daenerys Targaryen, that is. So I'm very curious to see how that's going to pan out. And also just the reaction shots when Jon Snow does find that out. So me personally, that's why it's my number 2. I think it's going to be very interesting.
So for my number 2, I have the death of Cersei Lannister. So it has to happen. I will die myself if Cersei Lannister survives season 8. I mean, from the prophecy to the story, I just don't see a way that Cersei can live through the series, but this is Game of Thrones, so who knows? She might be still sitting on the throne at the end of this thing and make us all furious. So for that, I wish to see Cersei go down and relinquish that throne. But in addition, I'm just so curious and so anxious to see who is it going to be. Is it going to be Arya? Is it going to be Jaime? Is it going to be somebody completely random or different? Who knows? Obviously, I would really like to see it be Arya or Jaime. Either of those two getting the kill would be a satisfactory result for me personally. Anybody else is a little anticlimactic. I guess Daenerys or Tyrion would be fine as well, honestly. But really, one of those two's got to get the kill. That's my wish, but I can't choose between them, so we're just going to say, I want to see Cersei go down.
And number 1, this is another... I feel like it's a generic pick because it's one that I'm sure everyone's going to be saying. Me personally, my number 1 is I want to see who sits on the Iron Throne when the dust settles. Because this isn't your typical fantasy, medieval, political show. This is a show that's willing to take risks. Any other show would have Jon Snow as, obviously the person who sits on the Iron Throne when all is said and done. But if you're a Game of Thrones fan, you know that that is not going to be the case, or at least thus far. All the kings have, or queens in this case, because Queen Cersei is now queen. So it's the type of thing where every single ruler, is not your typical king. It's a person that you wouldn't want to be king or queen. So to see someone that will be queen or king, I don't know. I just don't buy it. And so that's why I'm thinking that Daenerys and Jon Snow, they probably won't rule, specifically Jon Snow. Which is why I'm very curious to see who will rule. Will the Night King rule? Will everyone be dead so no one can rule? It's just a question that, in making this wish list, I'm like, that's probably my number 1 because I really want to see who's going to rule when all is said and done because I don't know. I have what, people would want. The fan service choices, obviously, like I was saying, Jon Snow and Daenerys Targaryen. But realistically speaking, with what the show's going for, I don't know. And that's why it's my number 1, because I don't know. And that's what all these choices are for me. It's choices that I don't know if they're going to do it. I'm hoping that they do it, but I don't know how they're going to do it. And that's what makes me so excited about it. So that's my Game of Thrones wish list, 5-1, 1 being obviously my favorite. I'm very curious to hear your guys' thoughts in the comments section down below as to what yours are. And also, again, I know I said it already, but Larry, thanks again for having me on your channel. I really do appreciate it. And I also just want to say, I hope that we can do this again. It was a lot of fun. And, yeah, hope you guys have a good rest of your day. And comment section down below. And catch you guys later.
And then finally, my number 1. The thing I am hoping to see more than anything in Season 8 is Daenerys Targaryen on that throne. That's right. I want the fan service. I want Dany on the throne. I'm actually having to prepare myself mentally because I don't think I'm going to get my wish, honestly. I don't think it's going to be in the cards, but it's what I want so badly. It's what I've wanted this entire show. She's always been my favorite character. I love her so much. I want her on that throne. So I have to prepare myself for possibly a Daenerys death in Season 8 because I think there's a high likelihood that that could happen. But of course, there is still a good chance that she does make it and she gets to sit on that throne and accomplish her main goal of the whole series. We didn't take 7 frickin' seasons to get to Westeros for this, damn it. I want her on the throne. And that is my personal biggest hope and wish from season 8. So once again, thank you, Chad, so much for collaborating and coming on the channel to share your top 5 wishes for season 8 with me. Everyone, make sure that you head on over and check out Chad's channel. Subscribe. He gives really great, honest, and insightful, thoughtful movie reviews and rankings on his channel. He's highly underrated, underseen. He deserves so many more subscribers than he has. So, of course, I'll leave his channel link in the description down below. So make sure you go over, show him some love, and maybe hit that subscribe button. And while you're still here, make sure to hit that like button on this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to the channel if you aren't already. Also, make sure to join in on the discussion. What did you think of our top 5 lists? And more importantly, what are your biggest wishes for season 8 of Game of Thrones? Let us know either in the comment section down below, or you can hit me up on Twitter. I love you all so much for your continued support. Mwah! Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!